The stars shone like distant gems against the black canvas of space. In the command center of Earth's hidden orbital station, Commander Jack Reynolds stared at the holographic display, his face tight with worry. The alien message played again, its translation scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Juvenile civilization detected. Sector 7, Planet 3. Preliminary observation indicates early space exploration phase, preparing guidance protocols as per Confederation standard. Jack ran a hand through his gray hair. The aliens thought Earth was young, primitive, just taking its first steps into space. They had no idea what humanity had hidden beneath the surface. How long until they arrive? He asked. Anna Wright, the station's chief analyst, checked her screens. Based on their transmission patterns, less than 2 weeks, they're moving fast. Jack nodded, making his decision. Send the alert. Code Thunderbolt. It's time to show our hand. The warning spread quietly through Earth's secret network. While the public knew about the International Space Station and the moon base, they remained unaware of the true extent of humanity's space capabilities. For over a century, the world's governments had kept their most advanced technology hidden, ever since they had first intercepted alien communications in 1920. In an underground base beneath the Pacific Ocean, Captain Lisa Miller walked through the docking bay toward her ship. The EDS Thunderbolt gleamed under the bright lights, its sleek black hull absorbing more than reflecting. At 300 meters long, it was Earth's first true warship built for space combat. Captain on deck called out Tom Davis, her first officer, as she approached. The crew of 50 stood at attention. They were the best Earth had to offer. Pilots, engineers, and soldiers trained in secret for this exact moment. At ease, Lisa said. She was not, tall, but her presence commanded respect. Her dark eyes scanned the assembled crew. You all know why we're here. For generations, we've kept our true capabilities hidden. Today, that changes. She activated a screen showing the approaching alien ship. The Confederation thinks they're coming to an infant world. They plan to guide us, which means control us, take our resources, maybe turn us into a client state. They've done it before to others. The crew watched her intently as she continued. Our job is simple. When the order comes, we launch and show them Earth isn't the easy target they believe. We don't start a war, but we make it crystal clear we won't be controlled. Tom stepped forward. Engine room reports all systems green, Captain. Weapons and shields at full capacity. Lisa nodded. Good. We have 3 days to prepare. Study your stations. Review the battle plans. This is what we've trained for. High above Earth, in what most people thought was just a research satellite, General William Cooper met with the World Security Council. Representatives from 12 nations sat around the table, faces grim as they viewed the data. The alien vessel will reach Earth orbit on Friday, said the Russian representative. It's larger than we anticipated, but still just a diplomatic ship, not a warship, added the Indian counselor. Our intelligence confirms it's equipped for first contact, not battle. General Cooper stood at the head of the table. This is what we've prepared for since the listening post first picked up their transmissions. They think we're children who just learned to walk. They have no idea we've been monitoring their communications for decades. The Chinese representative leaned forward. An Operation Falseface, is it working? Cooper nodded. Perfectly. Our public space program looks exactly like what a young civilization should have. Old rockets, primitive satellites, basic space stations. Meanwhile, we've kept everything important underground or behind Mars. And the Thunderbolt? Asked the Brazilian counselor. Ready to launch on your command, Cooper replied. Captain Miller reports all systems go. The American representative stood up. Then we proceed as planned. When their ship arrives, we play, along with their expectations. Act impressed by their technology. Appear grateful for their guidance. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt moves into position. The vote was unanimous. Earth would maintain its deception, right until the moment it revealed its true strength. In her private quarters aboard the Thunderbolt, Lisa reviewed the alien data one last time. The Confederation had encountered 17 other civilizations in the past century. All had been classified as juvenile and brought under Confederation control. Some prospered as client states. Others were stripped of resources and abandoned. The pattern was clear. The Confederation preyed on young worlds that couldn't fight back. A knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. It was Dr. Robert Green, the ship's science officer. "Captain, I've finished analyzing their shield frequencies," he said, handing her a tablet. "Based on the transmissions we've intercepted, I believe we can penetrate their defenses with minimal adjustment to our weapons." Lisa studied the data. "Good work, Doctor. Will they be able to track us when we launch?" Robert shook his head. "No, Captain. Our hull material absorbs their standard scanning frequencies. As long as we stay in Mars' shadow until we make our move, we should achieve complete surprise." "Perfect," Lisa said. "That's exactly what we need." On Friday, right on schedule, the alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit. It was enormous, at least a kilometer long, shaped like a gleaming silver arrow. It broadcast messages of peace and friendship in all Earth languages. In Washington, D.C., the official First Contact team gathered. They were politicians and scientists who knew nothing about Earth's secret space program. They genuinely believed this was humanity's first encounter with alien life. Their shock and awe would be real, exactly what the Confederation expected to see. Jack Reynolds watched from the hidden command center as the alien ship deployed, a smaller vessel toward Earth. Inside it would be the Confederation representatives coming to offer their guidance to a young species. He opened a secure channel to the Thunderbolt, now positioned in the shadow of Mars. "Captain Miller, are you ready?" Lisa's voice came back clear and confident. "Ready and waiting, Commander. Engines hot, weapons charged." "Good," Jack said. "Remember, we don't fire first. We show strength, not aggression." "Understood, sir." Jack closed his eyes briefly. Humanity had hidden in the shadows for generations, building and preparing while presenting a false face to the galaxy. Now the deception was about to end. "May God help us all," he whispered, then opened the channel again. "Operation Thunderbolt is go. Repeat, Thunderbolt is go." In the darkness behind Mars, the Thunderbolt's engines flared to life. Earth was about to announce itself to the stars, not as a child, but as a power to be reckoned with. The Confederation ship gleamed in Earth's orbit, a massive silver arrow catching the sun's light. In its shadow, a smaller vessel descended toward the blue planet below. Inside sat Administrator Dorn, a tall being with pale blue skin and 6 fingers on each hand. He reviewed the data on Earth one final time. "Such a young species," he said to his assistant, Melk. "They've barely left their atmosphere. This will be an easy integration." Melk nodded, her slender neck bending gracefully. "Their technology is primitive. The scans show only basic satellites and a small space station." "Perfect," Dorn smiled. "They'll be grateful for our help, and their planet is rich in resources we need." The shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere, heading for the landing site in Washington, D.C. Dorn had no idea he was being watched by hidden sensors far more advanced than anything the Confederation believed Earth possessed. Deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, in another secret base, Admiral Frank Wilson monitored the alien descent. Around him, officers tracked every movement of the Confederation ships. "The shuttle will land in 5 minutes," reported his communications officer. "Our people are in position to greet them." Frank nodded. "And the Thunderbolt?" "Still in position behind Mars, sir. Captain Miller reports all systems ready." "Good," Frank said. "Now we play our parts perfectly. Remember, everyone on the surface needs to appear suitably impressed by their technology." On his command screen, he could see the world leaders gathering at the landing site. None of them knew the truth. Their reactions would be genuine. Exactly what Earth needed to maintain its deception a little longer. The alien shuttle landed softly on the White House lawn. News cameras from around the world captured the historic moment as the ramp lowered and Administrator Dorn emerged, flanked by 4 other aliens. The Earth delegation approached cautiously, led by the American President and the UN Secretary General. "Welcome to Earth," the President said, his voice strong despite his nervousness. "We are honored by your visit." Dorn smiled, showing teeth too perfect to be natural. "The honor is ours, President Harris. The Confederation greets Earth as a new friend." The formal introductions continued, broadcast to billions around the world. Meanwhile, in orbit, a very different meeting was about to take place. Captain Lisa Miller stood on the bridge of the Thunderbolt as it slipped out from behind Mars. The ship's advanced stealth systems kept it invisible to Confederation sensors. "Time to intercept?" she asked. Tom checked his console. 30 minutes at current speed, Captain." "And the alien mothership?" "Still in high orbit. Their attention is focused on the landing. They have minimal shields up. They're not expecting trouble." Lisa nodded. "Good. Maintain course and speed. Weapons on standby, but don't power up until my command. We don't want to give them any warning." As the Thunderbolt glided silently through space, Lisa thought about humanity's long journey to this moment. For centuries, Earth had kept its true capabilities hidden. When the first alien signals were detected in 1920, the world's governments had made a fateful decision to listen and learn, but never reveal themselves. They had intercepted enough Confederation communications to understand the danger. The aliens didn't come as equals. They came as masters looking for resources and new worlds to control. So Earth had prepared in secret. While showing the world primitive rockets and basic satellites, the hidden program built true starships and weapons that could match anything the Confederation had. "Captain?" Tom's voice broke into her thoughts. "Message from Earth Command. The surface meeting is proceeding as planned. Administrator Dorn is offering Confederation protection now." Lisa's jaw tightened. "Right on schedule. Let's get a bit closer." In Washington, Administrator Dorn stood before the gathered world leaders in the White House East Room. Behind him, a holographic display showed the wonders of the Confederation: gleaming cities, advanced technology, and peaceful aliens of different species living together. "The Confederation welcomes developing worlds like yours," Dorn said smoothly. "We offer technology, medicine, and protection as you grow. In return, we ask only for certain resource rights and your participation in our collective." The President leaned forward. "What kind of resource rights?" Dorn waved his six-fingered hand casually. "Nothing that would impact your daily lives. Just mining rights to certain minerals in your oceans and polar regions, and perhaps cultivation rights to 20% of your arable land." The President exchanged glances with other world leaders. This was playing out exactly as Earth's intelligence had predicted. "That's quite a request," the UN Secretary General said carefully. "We would need time to consider this offer." Dorn's smile remained fixed, but his eyes hardened slightly. "Of course. Though I should mention that Confederation protection begins immediately. For your safety, our mothership will deploy a defense grid around your planet." The trap was being set. Once the defense grid was in place, Earth would be effectively contained. "How long would we have to consider your offer?" asked the Chinese president. "Standard protocol gives new worlds 7 of their days," Dorn replied. "But I'm confident you'll see the benefits well before then." On the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Lisa received the coded message from Earth Command. 7 words that would change history. "Grid deployment beginning. You are cleared to engage." "Battle stations," she ordered. The bridge lights dimmed to red as the crew moved with practiced efficiency. "Weapons online," reported the tactical officer. "Shields at maximum. Stealth systems disengaging in 3, 2, 1. Tom counted down. Lisa stood, her voice calm and clear. "Take us in, full speed. Target their shield generators and communication arrays only. We're not here to destroy them, just to send a message." The Thunderbolt's engines flared to brilliant life as the ship abandoned stealth and accelerated toward the unsuspecting Confederation mothership. For the first time, the aliens would see what Earth was truly capable of. In the command center, beneath the ocean, Admiral Frank watched the Thunderbolt appear on his screens, no longer hiding its presence. "Godspeed, Captain Miller," he whispered. "Show them what Earth can do." In Washington, Administrator Dorn's meeting was interrupted by an urgent message from his ship. His confident expression vanished as he listened to the panicked report in his earpiece. "Impossible," he whispered, his blue skin paling to almost white. "Where did it come from?" The Earth leaders watched in confusion as the alien suddenly stared at them with new eyes, no longer condescending, but afraid. In orbit, above them, humanity's first starship was about to strike. The thunderbolt cut through space like a knife, its black hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. On the bridge, Captain Lisa Miller watched as the distance to the Confederation mothership rapidly closed. "Weapons locked on target," reported Marcus, her weapons officer. "Shield generators and communication arrays identified." "Enemy status?" Lisa asked, her voice steady despite the tension running through her body. Tom checked his readings. "They're scrambling, Captain. Sensors show they're trying to raise shields to full power, but they weren't prepared. Their weapon systems are coming online, but slowly." Lisa nodded. This was exactly what they had hoped for: surprise and confusion. "Time to intercept? 45 seconds. She opened the ship-wide comm. "All hands, this is the captain. We are about to engage the Confederation vessel. Remember your training. This isn't just about today. It's about humanity's future among the stars." On the tactical display, she could see the massive alien ship growing larger. It was beautiful in its way, a marvel of engineering. But it represented a threat Earth could not allow. 30 seconds to weapons range," Tom announced. Lisa took a deep breath. "Fire on my mark." In the White House, Administrator Dorn's composure had completely shattered. He was barking orders into his communication device, his previously friendly demeanor replaced by panic. "Full shields, power all weapons, where did it come from?" he shouted. The Earth leaders exchanged subtle glances. The President stepped forward. "Is something wrong, Administrator?" Dorn looked at him with new eyes, suspicion replacing condescension. You knew. This is a trap." The President maintained a puzzled expression. "I don't understand. What's happening?" Before Dorn could answer, one of his aides burst into the room. "Administrator, Earth has a warship. It's approaching the mothership at attack speed." The room fell silent. The charade was beginning to unravel. "Mark," Lisa commanded. The Thunderbolt's weapons fired in perfect sequence. Brilliant beams of energy streaked across space, striking the Confederation ship precisely where intended. The alien vessel's shield generators exploded in bursts of blue fire. "Direct hits on all primary targets," Marcus reported. "Their shields are down to 20% capacity." "Again," Lisa ordered. "Target their weapons arrays now." The Thunderbolt banked sharply, evading the few defensive shots the Confederation ship managed to fire. Earth's warship was smaller but far more agile. It circled the larger vessel, firing with surgical precision. "Their main communication array is disabled," Tom reported. "They can't call for help." Lisa nodded. "Bring us around for another pass. Target their engine control systems, just enough to prevent them from leaving orbit." The Thunderbolt responded instantly to her commands. On the screens, the Confederation ship looked like a wounded animal, venting atmosphere from multiple breaches. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the alien vessel. They're surrendering." A murmur ran through the bridge. This had happened even faster than they expected. "Put it on screen," Lisa ordered. The face that appeared was not Dorn's, but another blue-skinned alien, this one with markings that suggested higher rank. His expression mixed shock with fear. "This is Fleet Captain Wren of the Confederation vessel Enlightenment. We surrender. Please cease your attack, we have civilians aboard." Lisa kept her expression neutral. "This is Captain Lisa Miller of the Earth defense ship Thunderbolt. Your surrender is accepted on condition that you power down all remaining weapons and make no attempt to deploy your containment grid or contact other Confederation vessels." The alien blinked rapidly, clearly struggling to understand how this was possible. "Agreed. But how? Earth is a juvenile world. Your technology cannot—" "Your intelligence was wrong," Lisa cut him off. Transmit your compliance and prepare to receive boarding parties. As the screen went dark, cheers erupted across the bridge. Lisa allowed it for a moment before raising her hand for silence. Well done, everyone. But this is just the beginning. Tom, contact Earth Command. Tell them the Confederation ship is secured, and ask for instructions regarding Administrator Dorn. In the underground command center, Admiral Frank Wilson received the news with grim satisfaction. Around him, officers and technicians celebrated quietly. "The Thunderbolt reports complete success, sir," his aide said. "The alien ship is disabled and has surrendered." Frank nodded. "Send the extraction team for Dorn. It's time to drop the act." He turned to the large screen showing the Thunderbolt positioned beside the much larger Confederation vessel. Decades of secrecy and preparation had paid off. Earth had revealed its true face, not a helpless child, but a prepared defender. "Begin Operation Truth," he ordered. "It's time to show them everything." In Washington, the mood had changed dramatically. Administrator Dorn was now surrounded by not just diplomats, but military personnel who had shed their civilian disguises. They wore uniforms with patches showing Earth's real space fleet insignia. "What is the meaning of this?" Dorn demanded, though his voice lacked conviction. The president's friendly expression remained, but his eyes had hardened. "Administrator, your ship has surrendered to our forces. Your deployment of a containment grid has been prevented." "Impossible," Dorn whispered. "You're a juvenile species. You have only primitive rockets and basic satellites." The president smiled. "That's what we wanted you to believe. What the Confederation has been seeing is only what we allowed you to see." A new figure entered the room, General William Cooper in full military dress. "Administrator Dorn, you will now accompany us to our orbital command center. There's much to discuss about the Confederation's future relationship with Earth." Dorn looked from face to face, finally understanding. "How long?" he asked. "How long have you been deceiving us?" The general's smile was cold. "Since we first intercepted your transmissions, over 100 years ago. We know all about the Confederation's guidance of developing worlds. We know what happened to the Polari and the Vox. We know everything." Dorn's shoulders slumped. The perfect trap had been sprung, and he had walked right into it. "Captain," Lisa Miller watched as her boarding parties reported back from the Confederation ship. The aliens had complied fully, powering down weapons and accepting Earth's troops aboard. "Captain," Tom called out, "we're receiving new orders from command. We're to escort the Confederation vessel to the dark side of the moon." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "The dark side? So they're finally revealing Luna Base?" "Yes, Captain. Operation Truth is in effect. All hidden bases and ships are being revealed." Lisa smiled. After generations of secrecy, humanity was finally showing its true face to the stars. The Thunderbolt was just one of dozens of advanced warships Earth had built in secret. "Send the escort coordinates to the Confederation vessel," she ordered, "and prepare for Phase 2. As the Thunderbolt moved into position, Lisa thought about what would come next. This wasn't just about defending Earth. It was about changing the balance of power in the galaxy. The Confederation was about to learn that humanity would not be controlled or exploited. They had thought Earth was young and easy target for their manipulations. Instead, they had found a wolf in sheep's clothing, and now the wolf was showing its teeth. Administrator Dorn had never felt so small. The shuttle carrying him from Earth ascended through the atmosphere, but instead of returning to his ship, it changed course toward the moon. Through the viewport, he could see his own vessel, the mighty Enlightenment, being escorted by the black Earth ship that had so easily disabled it. "Where are you taking me?" he asked the silent human guards. General Cooper, sitting across from him, finally spoke. "To a place that doesn't exist according to your intelligence." The shuttle banked, and the dark side of the moon came into view. Dorn's eyes widened. Where there should have been only craters and dust, there was instead a massive complex spreading across the lunar surface. Lights gleamed from domes and towers. Ships moved in and out of large hangar bays. Impossible, Dorn whispered. Luna Base, General Cooper said with undisguised pride. Established 80 years ago, home to 10,000 personnel. One of 12 major off-world bases we've built. The shuttle descended toward an opening in the largest dome. As they landed, Dorn could see humans in uniforms moving with purpose through the base. This was no hastily built facility. This was the result of decades of planning and construction. Why the deception? Dorn asked as they exited the shuttle. Why hide? All this? Cooper gave him a hard look. Because we know how the Confederation treats worlds it considers threats. Captain Lisa Miller stood at attention as Admiral Frank Wilson stepped onto the bridge of the Thunderbolt. The crew snapped to salute. At ease, the Admiral said. Captain Miller, excellent work. The Confederation vessel is now secured at Luna Base. Thank you, sir, Lisa replied. What are our orders now? Admiral Wilson moved to the command chair that Lisa had vacated. The next phase is already beginning. Earth is revealing its full capabilities. Not just the Thunderbolt, but the entire fleet. On the main screen, a tactical display showed green dots emerging from hidden bases on Mars beneath Earth's oceans and from the asteroid belt. Each dot represented an Earth warship, moving into defensive positions around the planet. 30 ships, sir? Tom asked, unable to hide his surprise. 37, actually, the Admiral corrected, plus our fixed defenses and orbital platforms. We're showing the Confederation exactly what they're dealing with. Lisa studied the display. What about Administrator Dorn? He's being taken to the council chamber at Luna Base. It's time for new negotiations, with Earth dictating the terms. In the gleaming council chamber beneath the lunar surface, Dorn sat alone at one end of a long table. At the other end were the representatives of Earth's nations, now dressed in their true military and diplomatic uniforms, rather than the civilian clothes they had worn on the surface. The president spoke first. Administrator Dorn, let me formally introduce myself. I am not just the President of the United States, but also the current chair of the Earth Defense Alliance, the organization that has, for over a century, prepared humanity for this day. Dorn looked from face to face. Your deception was complete. We had no indication of your true capabilities. That was the point, said the Chinese representative. We intercepted Confederation communications in 1920. We learned how you guided developing worlds, how you stripped resources from planets that couldn't defend themselves. So we made a decision, the Russian delegate continued. We would appear weak while building strength. We would let you see only what supported your belief that we were primitive. Dorn's 6 fingers tapped nervously on the table. What happens now? Will you destroy our ship? Kill me and my crew? The president shook his head. No, we are not. Like the Confederation, we don't destroy those we can talk to. Instead, we want to negotiate as equals. A door opened, and Technical Officer Ben Parker entered. He was carrying a data pad. Sorry I'm late. The analysis of their ship is complete. And? Asked the president. Ben smiled. As we suspected, their technology is advanced, but not as advanced as they led us to believe. In some areas, we're actually ahead of them. He turned to Dorn. Your weapon systems, for instance. Impressive, but our quantum shielding is better. And your faster-than-light drive? We developed something similar 40 years ago, but ours is 20% more efficient. Dorn stared in disbelief. But how? Without guidance from an advanced civilization? Because we had to, Ben interrupted. Because we knew we were alone against potential threats. Necessity drove our innovation. On the Thunderbolt, Lisa was preparing for her next mission. The ship had been quickly resupplied at Luna Base and was ready to depart again. Captain, Tom said, approaching with a datapad. Our new orders are in. We're to take diplomatic representatives to the Confederation Central Council. Lisa raised an eyebrow. They're moving that quickly. Apparently, Administrator Dorn has been cooperative since seeing our full capabilities. He's provided coordinates and diplomatic protocols. Lisa nodded. How many ships are we taking? 3. The Thunderbolt will lead. with the Defiance and Challenger as escort. A small fleet, but enough to make an impression. Earth was stepping onto the galactic stage, not as a supplicant, but as a power. "Prepare the ship," Lisa ordered. "We depart in 6 hours." Back in the Lunar Council chamber, Dorn was reviewing the terms Earth had prepared. His hands trembled slightly as he read. "These are not what I expected," he admitted. The president nodded. "We don't want war with the Confederation. We don't even want to disrupt the stability you've built. What we want is recognition as equals and reform of how you treat developing worlds." Dorn looked up. "The Council will never agree to this." "They will," said General Cooper, "once they understand the alternative. Earth is prepared to protect other developing worlds from exploitation, by force if necessary." The implications were clear. Earth wasn't just defending itself, it was positioning itself as a counterweight to Confederation power. "You've been hiding and watching for a century," Dorn said slowly. "What else have you been doing that we don't know about?" The Russian representative smiled coldly. "We've been making friends, Administrator. Other worlds that chafe under Confederation. Guidance. We've been very quiet, very careful. But we haven't been idle." Dorn set down the data pad. His world was changing by the minute. The Confederation had stumbled upon not just a surprisingly advanced world, but a potential revolution in the making. "I will present your terms to the Council," he said finally. "But I must warn you, they will not surrender power easily." The president's expression was firm. "Neither will Earth. We've waited too long and prepared too carefully to accept anything less than full recognition of our sovereignty, and the sovereignty of any world that asks for our protection." As Dorn contemplated this new reality, the Thunderbolt and its sister ships broke orbit from the Moon, beginning their journey to the heart of Confederation space. Earth was stepping out of hiding, and the galaxy would never be the same. The journey to the Confederation Central Council took 3 days. Captain Lisa Miller spent most of that time studying the data Administrator Dorn had provided about Confederation protocols and defenses. The Thunderbolt led the small Earth fleet, with the Defiance and Challenger flanking it in perfect formation. "Entering Confederation space now, Captain," Tom announced as the ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Lisa nodded. "Any sign they've detected us?" "Yes, ma'am. Multiple sensor sweeps. They definitely know we're here." The main screen showed their destination, a massive space station shaped like a wheel, rotating slowly against the backdrop of a red giant star. Around it floated dozens of Confederation ships, their silver hulls gleaming in the red light. "They've sent us landing coordinates," said the communications officer, "and a warning not to deviate from our assigned path." Lisa smiled grimly. "Acknowledge the coordinates. Maintain defensive posture, but keep weapons powered down. Let's not start a war today if we can help it." As the 3 Earth ships approached, a squadron of smaller Confederation vessels moved to escort them. The message was clear. They were being watched carefully. "Quite a reception committee," Tom remarked. "They're scared," Lisa replied. "And they should be. We've changed everything they thought they knew about the balance of power." In the station's Grand Council chamber, representatives from 37 spacefaring species sat in rising tiers around a central speaking floor. The chamber buzzed with nervous conversation. News of Earth's surprise attack and hidden technology had spread quickly through Confederation space. The Supreme Counselor, a tall, thin being with translucent skin, called for order. "The representatives from Earth will enter now. I remind all. Counselors that diplomatic immunity is in effect." The massive doors opened and the Earth delegation entered. Led by General Cooper, it included Captain Miller, Technical Officer Ben Parker, and diplomats from Earth's major powers. Administrator Dorn followed behind them, looking distinctly uncomfortable. The Earth delegation took their place on the speaking floor. General Cooper stepped forward. "Greetings, Supreme Counselor, distinguished representatives of the Confederation. I am General William Cooper of the Earth Defense Alliance. We come to establish new relations between Earth and the Confederation, relations based on equality and mutual respect. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Supreme Counselor raised a hand for silence. General Cooper, your world has deceived the Confederation, hidden military capabilities, and attacked one of our vessels. These are not the actions of a peaceful civilization. Cooper's expression remained calm. With respect, Supreme Counselor, we acted in self-defense. Earth intercepted Confederation communications over a century ago. We learned how you classify developing worlds, how you exploit those you deem juvenile. We saw what happened to the Polari, the Vox, and others who accepted your guidance. Another counselor stood, this one with scaled skin and yellow eyes. You claim to have studied us for a century. Impossible. Your species has barely achieved spaceflight. Ben Parker stepped forward. Actually, Counselor, that's what we wanted you to believe. The space program you observed was a carefully constructed facade. Behind it, we built this. He activated a holographic display that showed Earth's true space capabilities. The lunar base, the fleet of ships, the Mars colonies, all hidden from Confederation observation. Shocked whispers filled the chamber. The Supreme Counselor leaned forward. If what you show is true, why reveal yourselves now? Why not remain hidden? Lisa Miller spoke up. Because we learned you were preparing to place a containment grid around our planet. We couldn't allow that. And because it's time for the exploitation to end, not just for Earth but for all developing worlds. The chamber erupted in angry shouts. The Supreme Counselor banged a gavel for order. You dare to threaten the Confederation? Your 3 ships, against our entire fleet? General Cooper smiled. We brought 3 ships as a diplomatic courtesy. But make no mistake, Earth is prepared to defend itself and others, and we are not alone. He nodded to Ben, who changed the holographic display. Now it showed communications between Earth and representatives of 6 other worlds, all classified as juvenile by the Confederation, all secretly contacted by Earth's hidden agents over decades. The Vox remember what you did to their southern continent, Cooper continued. The Polari haven't forgotten how you stripped their moon of resources. The Talari still count their dead from the assistance you provided during their civil war. The Supreme Counselor's translucent skin flushed dark with anger. This is outrageous. You've been interfering with our protectorates? No, Cooper corrected. We've been offering them a choice, and now we extend that choice to all worlds under Confederation protection. They can remain under your control, or they can join the Earth Alliance as equal partners. The chamber fell into stunned silence. On the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Tom monitored the situation through their secure link to the Earth delegation. The Confederation ships are changing position, he reported to the acting captain. They're moving to surround us. Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez left in command while Captain Miller attended the council, nodded calmly. Expected. Maintain defensive posture. Shields at maximum, but weapons still powered down. What if they attack? Asked a nervous ensign. Maria smiled. They won't. That's not what this is about. This is about showing strength while talking peace. She turned to the tactical display. The dance was continuing in space. Confederation ships trying to intimidate. Earth ships standing firm. But no one firing. Not yet. Besides, Maria added, they don't know about our other ships. On her private screen, she could see what the Confederation couldn't. 5 more Earth vessels waiting just outside sensor range, ready to jump in if needed. Earth had prepared for every possibility. Back in the council chamber, the Supreme Counselor had called for a brief recess. The Earth delegation stood to one side, while Confederation representatives huddled in small groups, talking urgently. They're rattled, Lisa observed quietly to General Cooper. He nodded. Good. Fear can be a powerful motivator for peace. Administrator Dorn approached them, looking worried. The council is divided. Many want to reject your demands outright to prove the Confederation cannot be challenged. And the others? Cooper asked. They see the risk. If what you've shown about your alliances with other worlds is true, This could spark a civil war within the Confederation. The Supreme Counselor returned to his position and called for attention. The chamber quieted. The Council has deliberated. We are prepared to establish provisional diplomatic relations with Earth, pending further negotiations. About your unusual status, Cooper stepped forward. We accept provisional relations, but our core demands remain. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign equal, not a protectorate. And any world currently under Confederation guidance will be given the opportunity to choose its status freely. The Supreme Counselor's face showed the strain of conceding to these terms. The details will require extensive negotiation. Of course, Cooper agreed. That's why we've come, not for war, but for a new beginning. As the formal proceedings continued, Lisa Miller looked around the chamber. In just 1 week, humanity had changed its place in the galaxy, from a species believed to be taking its first steps into space, to one that had forced the mighty Confederation to negotiate as equals. They had thought Earth was young, an easy target for control and exploitation. Instead, they had found a world that had watched, waited, prepared, and then struck with perfect timing. Earth was stepping onto the galactic stage at last, not as a child but as a protector, not just for humanity, but for all worlds that deserved their freedom. The deception was over. The truth had been revealed, and the stars would never be the same again. The strange readings appeared on Dr. Alex Morgan's screen for the 3rd time that week. He rubbed his tired eyes and checked the equipment again. The Deep Earth scanner was working perfectly, yet it kept showing energy patterns that made no sense. That's impossible, he muttered, tapping at the keyboard. The scanner showed a web-like energy field running through Earth's core, pulsing in patterns too regular to be natural. Alex was 42, with graying hair that showed the stress of years spent in underground labs while others got the credit for his work. Today might change everything. He printed the results and tucked them into his worn leather bag. At the same time, thousands of miles away, Major Tom Reed sat bolt upright in his military bunk. The dream had come again, the one where unseen hands moved people like chess pieces. In the dream, he could see glowing lines connecting everyone, pulling them toward choices they thought were their own. "You okay, Reed?" asked his bunkmate. "Fine," Tom said, though he wasn't. These dreams had started 3 months ago, always after missions where he'd had those strange hunches that saved lives. Hunches that felt planted in his mind. Tom was 35 with a soldier's build and eyes that had seen too much. He'd served in conflicts worldwide, and lately he'd started noticing patterns. Wars that ended just when certain technologies were discovered. Peace deals that gave unknown companies access to rare resources. It was as if someone was directing human history from behind a curtain. High above Earth, hidden by technology beyond human understanding, the Concordat observation vessel maintained its 10,000-year watch. Inside, beings that had evolved, far from Earth's sun, studied displays showing the planet's progress. "The humans approach Threshold 7 faster than projected," said High Observer Nex, a tall figure whose skin shifted colors with their emotions. Currently, it showed deep purple concern. "Their quantum physics research is advancing too quickly," agreed Second Observer Lear, studying Alex Morgan's lab readings. This one nearly detected the network. The network was the Concordat's masterpiece, an artificial quantum field embedded in Earth's core during the planet's formation. Through it, they could monitor all life on Earth and subtly influence development. Small nudges over centuries had guided humans exactly where the Concordat wanted them, toward technologies useful for harvesting, but away from those that might detect their watchers. "The military human concerns me more," said Third Observer Mott, pointing to Tom Reed's brain scans. "His neural patterns show resistance to our suggestions. He senses the network's influence." Nex's skin pulsed yellow with decision. "The harvesting timeline must be accelerated. Earth was scheduled for full incorporation in 50 years, but we cannot risk detection now. Prepare for implementation in 10 years instead." The others showed blue shock. 10 years? The humans will not be properly conditioned," protested Lear. Better incomplete harvesting than none, said Nex. Alert our Earth agents. Increase monitoring of dangerous elements, particularly these two humans. Back on Earth, Alex left his lab. Late that night, the strange readings safely copied to his personal devices. The university would never fund further research on what they'd call a technical glitch, but Alex knew better. 20 years studying Earth's core had taught him the difference between equipment failures and genuine discoveries. Walking to his car, he didn't notice the woman across the street taking his photo, or how her eyes briefly glowed with an inner light when she sent the image to her handlers. At his small apartment, Alex created a private online forum called Core Anomalies and posted anonymized versions of his findings. He expected it to sit empty for months. It took less than 3 hours for someone to respond. These energy patterns match something I've been tracking through historical events. We should talk. Meanwhile, Tom Reed requested a week's leave after his latest mission. His commanding officer was surprised. Reed never took time off, but approved it without question. Tom flew to his cabin in the mountains, where equipment he'd quietly collected over the past year waited. On the walls were maps showing conflicts throughout human history, with red strings connecting seemingly unrelated events. In one corner sat a powerful computer running programs that searched for patterns in human innovation. The screen currently displayed a chart showing how certain discoveries seemed to happen just when they were needed, defying probability. Tom logged into various forums where he tracked scientific breakthroughs. The new one, Core Anomalies, caught his eye immediately. The energy patterns matched what his programs had predicted should exist if something was influencing human development from within the Earth. He sent a message to the forum creator and waited. When a reply came, he felt a chill of recognition. I've been seeing these patterns for months. They're getting stronger. What does your military background tell you about this? A. How did this stranger know he had military connections? Tom hesitated, then realized, if his suspicions were correct, this person was seeing the same hidden hand he was. In their observation vessel, the Concordat watched with growing concern. The humans are connecting, Mott reported. The network detects information exchange that could lead to discovery. Activate Regional Agent 14, ordered Nex. Have the Morgan humans research discredited. The usual approach: professional embarrassment, funding cuts, suggestion of mental instability. And Reed? Asked Lear. More direct measures may be required. His military training makes him dangerous. Have Agent 22 arrange an accident during his leave. Nex turned toward the main display showing Earth, a world the Concordat had watched develop from single-celled organisms to a civilization on the verge of space exploration. So much careful work, so much energy invested. Every harvested world faces this moment, Nex reminded the others. The point where the native species begins to sense our presence. Few make it past suspicion before we complete integration. None have had humans' particular talent for obstinacy, said Mott. Their unpredictability factors are higher than any species we've harvested, which is why their emotional energy is so valuable, said Nex. The harvesting will proceed, unaware. They were being watched. Alex and Tom continued their exchange, eventually agreeing to meet in person. Alex also reached out to Lisa Voss, a computer expert whose papers on quantum computing had impressed him, and Dr. Mark Wells, a geologist who had published controversial theories about Earth's core that matched Alex's findings. None of them realized they were forming the first resistance against a plan set in motion before humans walked upright. None of them knew that across the galaxy, Earth was famous for one thing only: the unique energy humans produced when thinking, feeling, and innovating. Energy the Concordat had been quietly harvesting for millennia, and planned to take completely once humans reached the right development stage. None of them knew that together, they would soon uncover the truth. Earth was not free. It never had been. And the Watchers had plans that would end human independence forever, unless somehow the connection could be severed. The small diner on the edge of town was almost empty when Alex Morgan arrived. He chose a booth at the back, ordered coffee, and waited. His hands shook slightly as he placed his laptop on the table. If he was right about what he'd discovered, nothing in human history was what it seemed. The bell above the door jingled, and a man with military posture walked in. He scanned the room quickly before approaching. "Dr. Morgan?" he asked. Alex nodded. "Major Reed, I assume." Tom Reed slid into the booth across from him. For a moment they studied each other, the tired scientist and the alert soldier, united by their discovery of something impossible. "I brought the readings," Alex said, turning his laptop to show the energy patterns pulsing through Earth's core. "It's not natural. It's a network, a manufactured one." Tom nodded. "I've been tracking its effects for months." He opened his own computer and showed Alex maps of historical conflicts. These wars didn't happen randomly. Someone or something has been guiding us, pushing human development along specific paths. "But who? And why?" Alex asked. "That's what we need to find out," Tom replied. As they spoke, neither noticed the waitress watching them with unusual interest, her eyes briefly flashing an unnatural color. Lisa Voss arrived at her apartment to find her computer running by itself. Lines of code scrolled across the screen, code she hadn't written. She slammed the laptop shut and backed away. Ever since Dr. Morgan had contacted her about his energy patterns, strange things had been happening. Her research funding was suddenly under review. Colleagues avoided her, and now this. Her phone rang. The display showed an unknown number. "Hello?" she answered cautiously. "Lisa Voss? This is Mark Wells. Alex Morgan suggested I call you." The geologist's voice was tense. "I think we're being watched. My lab was broken into last night. They only took my core samples and research notes." "My computer just turned itself on," Lisa said. "Something is happening. We need to meet. Somewhere safe." In the Concordate vessel, alarms flashed as monitoring systems detected the growing human awareness. "The subjects are connecting too quickly," Mott reported. Agent 14 failed to isolate Morgan. Nex's skin darkened with anger. "How? We've manipulated human social structures for centuries to prevent exactly this kind of cooperation." "It appears to be their natural resistance to control," Lear suggested. "The more we push, the more these specific humans push back." "Activate all regional agents," Nex ordered. "Find these humans and stop their communication immediately." Alex had converted his garage into a makeshift lab. The walls were covered with printouts of the energy patterns, and a large model of Earth's core sat on a table. Tom, Lisa, and Mark gathered around as Alex explained his latest discovery. "I found a way to visualize the network," he said, turning, on a device of his own making. The room darkened and a holographic image appeared above the model, a web of light pulsing through the Earth, reaching up to the surface. "It's beautiful," Lisa whispered. "And terrifying," Mark added. "Those tendrils reach everywhere. Major cities, government centers, military bases." Tom pointed to several bright spots. "These match locations where I've experienced those strange intuitions during missions. It's like the network was feeding me information, steering my decisions." Lisa sat at her laptop, fingers flying over the keys. "I'm detecting data transmission through these pathways. This isn't just a monitoring system, it's actively communicating." "With what?" Alex asked. Lisa looked up, her face pale. "Something not on Earth." As they worked through the night, pieces fell into place. Using Tom's historical data, Mark's geological knowledge, and Lisa's computing skills, they mapped how the network had influenced human history. The Industrial Revolution, both world wars, the space race, the internet, all guided, Tom said, pointing to their timeline. "Pushing us toward specific technologies while holding others back." "But why?" asked Mark. Alex sat back, his face grim. "I think we're being farmed." The others stared at him. "The network doesn't just monitor us, it harvests something from us. That's why it guides our development, our conflicts, our innovations. They're cultivating us for something we produce." "What could humans possibly have that advanced aliens would want?" Lisa asked. Before Alex could answer, the lights went out. In the sudden darkness, they heard the sound of breaking glass from the front of the house. "They found us," Tom whispered, reaching for his gun. Agent 22 moved silently through Morgan's house, neural implants connecting her directly to the concordant network. 3 other agents surrounded the building. Their orders were clear: secure the humans and their research. She rounded a corner and froze. The house was empty, but the back door stood open. The targets are moving, she reported through her neural link. East side, heading for the woods. Tom led the group through the dark forest behind Alex's house. Years of military training had prepared him for this. In his pack were hard drives containing all their research. "Where are we going?" Lisa asked, breathing hard as they climbed a steep hill. "I have a safe house," Tom replied. "Stocked with equipment off the grid. We'll be able to continue our work there." "Who were they?" Mark asked. "Human agents," Tom said grimly. "People connected to the network in ways most aren't, controlled by whoever built it." 3 days later, the team had set up in Tom's mountain cabin. Lisa had built a signal jammer that seemed to block the network's influence, creating a bubble of privacy around them. "I've analyzed the energy patterns further," Alex said, showing them new scans. "The network affects human brain activity, especially during decision-making. It's subtle, just enough to nudge us in certain directions while making us think the choices are our own." "The real question is, what do we do now?" Mark asked. "Who would believe us?" Tom looked out the window at the stars. "We need to show people proof, and we need to find a way to fight back." Lisa turned her laptop toward them. On the screen was a design for a device. "I think I know how we might be able to block the network completely, not just around us, but everywhere." "You mean cut Earth off from whoever is controlling the network?" Alex asked. Lisa nodded. "Exactly. We can sever the connection." None of them noticed the tiny drone hovering outside the window, transmitting their conversation to watchers beyond Earth's atmosphere. Anai. The concordant vessel next received the transmission with growing alarm. "These humans plan to sever our connection to the network," he told the other observers. "If they succeed, we lose 10,000 years of cultivation." "Impossible," Lear said. "No species has ever developed such capability before harvesting. None has ever detected us this early either," Mott pointed out. "We cannot take the risk." Nex's skin shifted to the deep red of final decisions. "Prepare for immediate harvesting. We cannot wait any longer. Better to take what energy we can now than lose Earth completely." As Nex gave the order, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The Concordate had never lost a harvesting world before. They didn't intend to start now, but they had never faced humans before either. Snow fell outside the cabin as Lisa worked through the night on her blocking device. A month had passed since they'd escaped from Alex's house. In that time, they had learned more about the network and its purpose, each discovery more disturbing than the last. "Come look at this," Alex called from his makeshift lab in the cabin's second bedroom. The others gathered around a table where a small glass container held what looked like glowing blue sand. "What is it?" Tom asked. "Quantum. Particles I extracted from brain tissue samples," Alex explained. "These aren't natural. They've been introduced into the human population over generations." Mark leaned closer. "How?" "Through the water, the air, our food. They're everywhere now. They connect human brains to the network, making us easier to influence." Alex pointed to a microscope. "Look." Tom peered through the lens. The particles were moving, forming patterns similar to those they'd seen in the Earth's core. "They're responding to your thoughts," Alex said. "When humans think, feel, create, or solve problems, these particles generate energy that the network collects." Lisa stepped back, her face pale. "We're batteries. They're farming us for energy." "Not just any energy," Alex continued. "Something special about human consciousness generates a type of quantum energy they value. Our emotions, our creativity, our conflicts, everything that makes us human produces this energy. And they've been guiding our development to maximize production," Tom added grimly. "Wars, technological revolutions, art movements, all cultivated to generate more of what they want. We need to tell people, Mark said. Who would believe us? Lisa asked. Tom touched the gun at his hip, and their agents would stop us before we could spread the word widely enough. Alex's eyes lit up with sudden determination. Then we don't just tell people. We show them the network and give them a way to block it. We need to mass produce Lisa's device. In cities across the world, concordate agents moved among humans, their enhanced brains directly connected to the observation vessel. They searched for Morgan's team while monitoring rising anomalies in the network. Agent 22 stood in a crowded shopping mall scanning faces. Her neural implant suddenly buzzed with alert. Someone nearby had mentioned Alex Morgan. She turned, focusing her enhanced hearing. 2 college students were talking quietly in a corner. This scientist online claiming aliens are controlling us through quantum particles, one said, showing the other his phone. He calls himself Morgan. Posted all this evidence about a network in Earth's core. Agent 22 moved closer, watching the video playing on the student's phone. It was Morgan explaining the network while showing scans and data. The agent's implant burned hot as the concordate sent urgent commands through it. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. Despite the concordate's efforts to block it, Morgan's message was spreading through the internet, through whispered conversations, through underground forums. They're trying to shut us down, Lisa said, typing frantically at her computer. Our main server just went offline. The team had moved to an abandoned mining facility underground, where the surrounding rock helped shield them from detection. Their message had been online for just 3 days, but the response had been stronger than they dared hope. How many people saw it before we lost the server? Tom asked. Almost 2 million views and thousands of downloads of the blocking device plans. Lisa smiled. It's out there now. They can't completely stop it. Alex looked at the messages, flooding their secure email. Most people think it's a hoax, but some believe us. Engineers, scientists, military personnel, people who've noticed the patterns like we did. What about the blocking device? Any reports of successful builds? Mark asked. Lisa nodded. 17 confirmed builds in 12 countries. When activated, they create dead zones in the network, small ones but growing. Tom pointed to a map showing these dead zones. We need more, hundreds more. And we need to target them strategically, Alex added. Their control is strongest at these key locations. He marked several points on the map: major government centers, military bases, technology hubs. The Concordate will be fighting back hard now, Lisa warned. Their human agents will be hunting anyone building these devices. Then we need to become an actual resistance, Tom said, his military training taking over. Organize cells, secure communication, defensive measures. We'll need help, Mark said. Tom nodded. I have contacts. People who will believe us once I show them evidence. Former soldiers, intelligence officers. And I know scientists who would join us, Alex added. Then it's settled, Lisa said. We're not just 4 people hiding anymore, we're the start of something bigger. On the Concordate vessel, chaos erupted as monitoring stations showed spreading disruptions in the network. The humans have created blocking technology, Mott reported, skin flashing with alarmed colors. Multiple dead zones detected. Impossible, Nex said, but the evidence was clear on the displays. The harvesting equipment is ready, Lear informed them. We can begin extraction immediately. Nex hesitated. Full harvesting was a drastic step. It would extract maximum energy, but leave Earth's population drained, their development set back centuries. The humans are organizing resistance faster than any species we've encountered, Mott said. If we wait, begin the harvesting, Nex ordered. Full power. Pain shot through Tom's head in the middle of a planning session. Around him, the others clutched their temples, crying out. What's happening? Mark gasped. Lisa staggered to her monitoring equipment. The network. It's fully activating. Energy extraction at maximum levels. Outside their shielded facility across the world, humans fell to their knees as the network began drawing energy directly from their minds. Those closest to active blocking devices found relief, huddling in the small safe zones. They're harvesting, Alex said through gritted teeth. taking everything they can. This changes our timeline, Tom said, fighting through the pain. We don't have months anymore, we have days, maybe hours. Lisa pulled up the latest design for her blocking device. I've been working on a more powerful version, one that could disrupt the entire network at once, not just create local dead zones. What would it take, Alex asked. Access to a major power grid, and a way to connect directly to the network's central hub. Where would that be? Mark asked. Alex pointed to the center of their Earth model. The core. We'd need to send the signal through old mining shafts, deep-sea cables, anything that reaches toward the center. It would be a one-way trip for whoever plants the main devices, Lisa said quietly. They looked at each other, understanding the stakes. Around them, their equipment showed energy levels rising worldwide as the Concordate began its full harvest. We have no choice, Tom said. We need to move now. As they prepared for their most desperate mission, one thought united them. Earth belonged to humans, not to the silent watchers who had farmed them for millennia. The time had come to sever the connection, or lose everything that made humanity free. The world was in chaos. 3 days after the Concordate began full harvesting, hospitals were overwhelmed with people suffering from what the news called the global headache. Governments declared states of emergency. Military forces struggled to maintain order as millions experienced pain and confusion. In their underground base, Alex's team worked frantically to build their most powerful blocking device yet. The final design, Lisa said, spreading blueprints across the table. I call it the Severer. Tom studied the plans. It's bigger than I expected. It has to be, Alex explained. This isn't just blocking the network, it's destroying it completely. The design showed a central unit that would need to be placed near Earth's core, with 12 smaller units positioned at key points around the globe. All would activate simultaneously, sending disruptive energy through the network until it collapsed. The timing has to be perfect, Lisa warned. If all units don't fire at once, the network will adapt and survive. Mark pointed to a world map, where they had marked the 12 locations. We need teams at each point. Our online message reached more people than we thought, Tom said. I've been in contact with resistance cells forming worldwide. They're ready to help. A young woman entered the room, Diane Bell, a communications expert who had joined them a week earlier. I've established secure connections with all 12 locations. Teams are in place at 9 of them. The other 3 are still struggling with Concordate agents. We don't have time to wait, Alex said, checking monitors showing the network's energy extraction levels. People are dying. The Concordate is taking too much, too fast. Then we move with what we have, Tom decided. 9 points might be enough, if the central unit works perfectly. Who's taking the central unit? Diane asked. The room fell silent. The central unit had to be placed deep in an old mining shaft that reached closer to Earth's core than any other accessible point. Whoever went would likely not return. The shaft was unstable, and the network's reaction to the Severer was unpredictable. I'll go, Alex said finally. Tom shook his head. No. You understand the network better than anyone. You need to coordinate from here. He stood up. I'll take the central unit. We both will, Lisa said, surprising everyone. The device needs continuous adjustment during activation. It takes 2 people. Alex looked like he wanted to argue, but nodded instead. The rest of us will coordinate the other teams and maintain communications for as long as possible. They spent the next hours preparing the equipment and reviewing the plan. Each person knew their role. Each understood what failure would mean. On the Concordate vessel, Nex received disturbing reports. Human resistance is stronger than anticipated, reported Mott. They've created blocking zones that interrupt our harvesting. Impossible, said Nex, though the evidence was clear on the screens. No species has ever resisted harvesting successfully. These humans are different, Lear observed. The very unpredictability that makes their energy so valuable also makes them dangerous. Deploy all agents. ordered Nex. Find their resistance leaders. And increase harvesting power. We must complete extraction before they can organize further. As the Concordat intensified their efforts, the pain experienced by humans worldwide increased. In hospitals, patients screamed as the network pulled more energy from their minds. In streets, people collapsed. Only those near blocking devices found relief. Tom and Lisa drove through the night, the central severe unit secured in the back of their truck. Behind them, 2 more vehicles carried members of the resistance providing security. The entrance is just ahead, Tom said, checking the map on his phone. The old mining shaft had been abandoned decades ago, but recent scans showed it remained partially intact. As they approached, Lisa's equipment detected movement. Concordat agents, she warned, at least 5 of them guarding the entrance. In the truck behind them, resistance members prepared weapons, not to kill but to disable. They knew the agents were humans, controlled by the network, but victims nonetheless. We need a distraction, Tom said. Lisa smiled grimly. I brought something for this. She opened a case containing small devices. Portable blockers, short range but powerful. They'll disrupt the agent's connection to the Concordat. Giving us a window to get through, Tom finished. They stopped the trucks, a mile from the entrance, and continued on foot. Tom led the way, his military training evident in how he moved through the darkness. 2 resistance fighters positioned the portable blockers while others prepared to create a diversion. When everything was ready, Tom gave the signal. The diversion, a series of small explosions and flares, drew the attention of the Concordat agents. Seconds later, the blockers activated, causing the agents to stumble as their neural links to the network temporarily failed. Now! Tom shouted. They rushed forward, Tom and Lisa carrying the Severe while the others engaged the disoriented agents. Fighting erupted, but the resistance team had the advantage of preparation and clear minds. Tom and Lisa made it to the D shaft entrance. Behind them, the sounds of struggle faded as they descended into darkness. All teams report ready, Lisa said, checking her secure phone one last time before signal would be lost. Alex says the network is showing signs of increased activity. The Concordat knows we're making a move. They're too late, Tom said as they continued downward. The shaft was old, supports creaking ominously as they descended deeper than humans had gone in decades. After an hour of careful progress, they reached the target depth. The air was hot, the walls of the shaft glowing, faintly with heat from Earth's interior. Here, deep below the surface, the network's presence was visible, thin lines of energy pulsing through the rock itself. This is it, Lisa said, setting down her pack and beginning to assemble the Severer. We're as close to the core as we can safely get. Tom helped connect components while checking the shaft walls. This place won't hold much longer. The network energy is destabilizing it. It just needs to hold long enough, Lisa replied, focusing on the device. As they worked, the energy lines in the walls grew brighter, as if the network sensed their intentions. The air became harder to breathe, charged with power and heavy with heat. Finally, the Severer was ready, a cylinder of complex technology that hummed with building energy. Activation in 3 minutes, Lisa said, checking the synchronized timer. All other teams should be at the same point now. Tom looked at the narrow shaft stretching back up to the surface. We could try to make it out. Lisa shook her head. Someone needs to monitor the device until full activation. If it falters for even a second, then we stay, Tom said, resignation and determination mixing in his voice. For Earth. For humanity, Lisa added. As the timer counted down, they felt the network's energy intensifying around them, as if it were gathering itself for one final extraction, or one final defense. Neither of them could know that far above, in orbit, the Concordat was preparing to take drastic action, something they had never done in 10,000 years of watching Earth. The countdown reached 0. The world shook. As the Severe devices activated simultaneously across the globe, the Concordat network reacted violently. In the deep mining shaft, Tom and Lisa braced themselves against the walls as energy surged around them, their central unit glowing with power as it sent disruptive pulses into Earth's core. "It's working!" Lisa shouted over the rumbling. The energy lines visible in the rock were flashing erratically, like a system in failure. Tom checked the readings on the device. Network disruption at 60% and climbing. The other teams must have succeeded. Far above them, across the planet, the 9 other teams watched similar reactions as their devices poured interference into the ancient network. In some locations, Concordat agents fought desperately to stop them, but it was too late. The process had begun. On the Concordat vessel, alarms blared as monitoring systems failed in cascading sequences. "Network integrity failing," Mott reported, their skin flashing distress colors. 70% of Earth connections lost. "Impossible," Nex exclaimed, watching as 10,000 years of careful work collapsed. "No harvested species has ever—" "They're not just blocking the network," Lear interrupted, analyzing incoming data. "They're destroying it entirely. The quantum connections are unraveling." Nex made a decision that no high observer had made in the Concordat's million-year history. "Prepare for direct intervention. We must save what we can of the network." "Direct intervention is forbidden," Mott protested. "The cultivation protocols are useless if we lose Earth completely," Nex cut in. "Launch the harvester ships. We will show ourselves to the humans." In the underground base, Alex and the remaining team members monitored worldwide readings as the network began to collapse. "It's working," Alex said, unable to keep excitement from his voice. "The network disruption is at 85%. Mark pointed to another screen. "Look at this. The pain is stopping. Hospital reports show patients recovering as the network loses its grip." Diane, monitoring communications from the other teams, suddenly looked up in alarm. "We have a problem. Team 3 reports strange objects entering Earth's atmosphere. Not aircraft or satellites, something else." Alex enhanced the satellite imagery on his screen. What he saw chilled him. Massive ships descending through the clouds unlike anything humans had built. "The Concordat," he whispered. "They're coming themselves." In the mining shaft, the walls were beginning to collapse as the network's destruction sent shockwaves through the Earth's crust. "Network disruption at 93%, Lisa reported, adjusting the severer to maintain maximum effect. Just a little longer." Tom looked up at the crumbling ceiling. "I don't think this shaft is going to hold." "It doesn't need to," Lisa said, determination in her eyes. "It just needs to last until—" The central severer suddenly pulsed with blinding light, and a shockwave of energy burst outward, knocking them both to the ground. The network energy lines in the walls flared once, brilliantly, then went dark. In the silence that followed, Lisa checked her equipment with shaking hands. "Network connection. 0. "We did it, Tom. The connection is severed." Tom helped her to her feet as rocks continued to fall around them. "Now we need to find a way out of here." Across the world, as the network collapsed completely, billions of humans experienced a strange moment of clarity, as if a fog they hadn't known existed had suddenly lifted from their minds. For the first time in human history, people were thinking truly for themselves, free from the subtle influence that had guided their species since its beginning. But the celebration was short-lived. In major cities worldwide, enormous ships appeared in the skies. Smaller craft descended, landing in government centers, military bases, and open spaces. From these craft emerged beings with color-shifting skin and eyes that held the knowledge of civilizations older than human history. The Concordat had revealed themselves. 3 days after the severing, Alex stood with other world leaders and scientists in a hastily organized meeting at the United Nations. Before them stood High Observer Nex and 2 other Concordat representatives, the AI, first official contact between humans and their former manipulators. "For 10,000 years we guided your development," Nex was saying, his skin a muted blue of formal discourse. "The energy your consciousness produces is the most valuable resource in our galaxy. No other species generates it with your efficiency. You mean no other species was as easy to farm? Alex replied coldly. Nex's skin flickered with what might have been embarrassment. Our methods have been the same across 100 worlds. None have ever detected us before harvesting was complete. None have ever severed the connection. The human representatives exchanged glances. Despite the shock of alien contact, there was pride in what humanity had accomplished. What do you want now? Asked the Secretary General. Your network is destroyed, your harvesting has failed. We propose a new arrangement, said Nex. A mutual exchange, your energy freely given in return for technology, knowledge, protection. Alex laughed, surprising everyone, including himself. You still don't understand, do you? We don't need your guidance anymore. We've spent the last week examining your technology from the network fragments. We've already learned more on our own than you taught us in centuries. To demonstrate, he activated a device on the table. A holographic display appeared, showing detailed schematics of concordant ships, communication systems, and even the quantum technology that had powered the network. Nex's skin paled to white shock. Impossible. You couldn't have reverse engineered this so quickly. That's what you keep saying, Alex replied, yet here we are. Tom and Lisa entered the room, having been rescued from the mine shaft the day before. They carried more devices of human design, inspired by concordant technology but distinctly different, already improved upon. While you were guiding us, Tom said, you never let us develop past certain points. Without your influence, it turns out we learn very quickly. Lisa activated one of the devices, creating a small energy field similar to the networks but controlled entirely by humans. We understand what you were harvesting now and how to generate it ourselves. The difference is, we'll choose how to use it. Nex and the other concordant representatives conferred in their own language, clearly disturbed by this turn of events. Finally, Nex addressed the humans again. It seems we have underestimated your species. Perhaps a different kind of relationship is possible, as equals, not as cultivators and cultivated. Perhaps, the Secretary General said carefully. But that discussion will happen on our terms, not yours. As the meeting continued, Alex looked out the window at the concordant ships hovering in the distance. For the first time, they seemed less frightening, less all-powerful. Just another species, albeit an advanced one, that had made the mistake of underestimating humanity. 1 year after the severing, Earth had changed dramatically. With the Concordate's unwilling assistance, humans had developed faster-than-light communication, established their own presence in the solar system, and begun to take their place among the stars. Alex, Tom, Lisa, and Mark stood on the observation deck of humanity's first true space station, watching Earth turn below them. I still can't believe how fast we've advanced, Mark said. That's what happens when you're not being held back anymore, Lisa replied. All that human potential finally unleashed. The Concordate reports that other harvested worlds are beginning to resist as well, Tom added. Our example is spreading. Alex smiled as he looked out at the stars, no longer distant and unreachable, but the next frontier for a humanity that had proven itself more resilient, more adaptable, and more powerful than any galaxy-spanning civilization had expected. They thought they were creating the perfect farm, he said quietly. Instead, they created the perfect resistance. Beyond the observation window, the vast universe beckoned, no longer a place where humans were merely cattle to be harvested, but a realm where they would forge their own destiny, free from manipulation, free from control. The connection was severed. Humanity was free, and the galaxy would never be the same.